Isabel to Garcia. Off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
Here's Warner. Here comes the head of the jam. Counted for two. The field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game.
Smacked to the left. That is gone.
Rafa Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard. Counted and a win. And a win. Ryan Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go down.
Welcome back to week 2 of Talking Football here on Real Sports Live on a Wednesday afternoon, coming to you live from Luke Faria Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Kevin R. Ruben Rodriguez here to my right, your left. Thanks for joining us. Week 1 is here. It's gone. The jitters are done. The nerves, the anticipation, all of it's built up. The hungover hopefully is over for football, that is. So, again, Kevin R. joined by Ruben Rodriguez here to talk about week 1, what we saw, what we liked, what stood out. And then later in the show, we will be joined by Harlingen head coach Manny Gomez, and we will be joined by Mercedes head coach Roger Adame. That'll be later in the show. So, again, we're coming to you live from Luke Faria Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. So, Ruben, week 1, before we get into it, let's run down the scores, and let's go to Thursday's matchups and what went down on Thursday. So the game we covered, Mission versus Mission Vets, the Eagles won that one 13-12. Pioneer beating PSJ 14-12. Rio Hondo beating Juarez Lincoln 65-0. Brownsville Porter 30, Gruya 2. Economides 17, PSJ Southwest 7. San Antonio Southside 62, Brownsville Lopez 14. Edinburgh North 40, PSJ Memorial 14. Those were Thursday's games. Looking into Friday's games, what went down there? Harlingen beating Laredo United South on the road 34-10. Edinburgh Vela all over McAllen Memorial 42-6. La Jolla Palmview 24, La Jolla 20. Battle of the La Joyas out there out west. Mercedes 42, Brownsville Hanna 14. PSJ North 20, Brownsville Rivera 17. That game went into overtime. Los Fresnos 23, Edcal Chelsea 7. La Villa 62, Progreso 3. La Feria all over Raymondville 44-26. Lyford beating Santa Rosa 40-10. Marine Military Academy beating Santa Maria 55-14. Harlingen South getting the win at home against Brownsville Veterans 34-9. Rio Grande City in the Battle of Starr County beating Roma 25-14. Port Isabel 42, Brownsville St. Joe 6. That was 54-6. Sherryland beat Brownsville Pace 42-28. McAllen High beating Edinburgh High 14-6, and San Benito beating McAllen Row 20-13. So those are our week 1 scores. Ruben, we'll start with you. You were at the Marine Military Academy win against, Santa Maria in week 1. So what was it like there at MMA for week 1?
First of all, it was electric. Shout out to Coach Lucio at MMA. He gave me a little quick tour of the athletic facility. Got there early, got to speak with some of the core cadets. It was just an awesome atmosphere. It felt like normal. It felt like football was back. Talking about the game, let's break down that duel between Ben Smith and Malik Rivers, the sophomore-senior duel. Handing it off, Smith with 3 TD carries of his own, but he didn't do all the work, as we had Malik Rivers, the senior, also with 3 TDs of his own, even tight roping a punt return for about 20 yards, taking it to the house after even muffing it. So that shows you how much of a threat MMA can be in their district.
Marine Military Academy, it's a unique place. They're not under UIL, so they have kids funneling in and out of their program, and this was the first year that they actually have returners back on that team. So Coach Jim Morton's the coach there. He has Harlingen ties. His daddy was once the coach there at Harlingen, and of course Bobby Lucio has a long career history at Harlingen High. What else stood out to you in week 1 outside of MMA? There was a couple of games throughout the board. Some were surprising, some not so surprising, but what stood out to you outside of the MMA game?
Well, let's take it back to Thursday night. The game I got to cover was Brownsville, Porter, and La Gruya. Kyle Aguirre, QB2, now QB1, replacing Alejandro Stevens, put on a show offensively. And let's talk about that Porter defense swallowing La Gruya and taking control and guaranteeing and only allowing a safety off a botch snap on a punt. But that shows you that Brownsville Porter is ready, and they'll have a big one this Friday as they do take on Veterans Memorial. So I'm really excited to see that one.
Yeah, Porter's defense held them to 2 points. They got the win 30-2, so Coach Carlos Oresti and the Cowboys off to a good start. So Thursday we kicked off the season at Hidalgo, Mission Veterans in the Battle of Conway, and Luis Briones He was a beast, 3 interceptions. He was our player of the game for Real Sports Live player of the game. Defensively, Mission, they played as well as advertised, and I was talking to the guys before the game that defensively they're very tough. Their linebacking core is really good. Luis Valderas also was making plays in the backfield, but just they forced 6 turnovers in that game. There were 6 interceptions, something that I know Coach Gilpin's going to want to clean up. Ricky Reina, I know that's not what he does. He just had a bad game. One of them was an interception on the last play of the game, or last play of the first half, rather. It was more like a long punt. One of the plays was tipped, intercepted. So it was just a really rough night for Mission Veterans offensively. I don't anticipate that to be the case the rest of the year. Ricky's a senior. He's a seasoned veteran, and I think it's just a matter of just fixing and fine-tuning those things, and I think the Patriots will be okay. But I think the big storyline was Kevin Guerra, the young quarterback coming in, taking over Jeremy Duran, and, of course, Danny Longoria, first-year head coach, taking over Coach Coy Detmer. So there were a lot of big question marks going into that Week 1 game. What's Mission going to do? How are they going to respond with losing Coach Detmer and losing a guy like Jeremy Duran, who on paper and many projected to be the number 1 quarterback as a senior in the Rio Grande Valley coming in this year. So I think Mission did a good job. They pretty much sent a message that defensively they're going to be pretty good in what's going to be a ultra-competitive 31-6A district. So outside of that, Friday night, I wound up at Port Isabel. They took on St. Joe, and the question mark there was PI only played in 1 game last year. They had their second game was supposed to be against Raymondville. It was called off because of COVID concerns, unfortunately. So really, PI played in 1 football game last year. They didn't start till October. And on top of that, they hired Coach Tony V back in March. So he got a late jump on what he wanted to do with that program. And PI, the school district was very strict with what they were doing. They had very limited off-season workouts. So rewinding the clock back to last year, coaches that were taking on a program in their first year, that's a hell of a time to do it. In the middle of a pandemic, it was extremely hard. We saw a couple of coaches, Coach Cuevas over at Donna North, Mike Gonzalez at Donna, Tony V at PI, where it's already challenging when you're going to take over a program. But when you're taking over a program with limited, time to work with your athletes, especially that late in the game. So PI was behind the 8 ball. So the big question is what to expect from Port Isabel, and we got that answer. They ran that slot T, that nasty slot T, to near perfection. They scored on the second play of the game, and they just steamrolled St. Joe from the word go, 54-6. And I talked with Coach Tino, and it's like, man, that was a really good Port Isabel team. They looked like they were in week 3, 4, 5 mode. St. Joe a little down on numbers. They're both very young, but Gilbert Medina from Port Isabel, he put on a show. He scored 3 touchdowns. He was our player of the game. And seeing Tony V in that offense reminded me of what he did at Weslaco in his time there, where he used 3, 4 different running backs. That was the same case. 3 different running backs scored a touchdown Friday night. So I was really impressed with what Port Isabel is going to be doing this year, and I'm excited to see them in that district now because we're not going to do it by zones, north and south. PI is going to take on Rockport. PI is going to take on Sinton. They're going to take on, the Rio Hondos, the Raymondville. So it's going to be making for a pretty fun district. But other than that, what else stood out to you? I know Harlingen South, they sent a message winning week 1. Coach Kelly over at BVM, they're running that triple option, so it's a new look offense there. And Harlingen South, obviously under first-year head coach Israel Gonzalez. For him to get that win, I think, at home at Bogus, I think that's big.
Oh, definitely. Coming in your first, said, spend his time at Life. Or now here back at Harlingen, now starting off his first year at Harlingen South. And like you said, it is a big message saying that there was some questions, some concerns coming in where you can try to turn this team around, and getting a big win against Bronzeville Veterans at home to open up the season just sets the tempo, gives motivation to the team. The fan just shows the message that we're ready to compete, and we're here to are. But still early on in the season, so we have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, still a long way to go. But what's on tap for us coming up tomorrow night up in the Coastal Bend, we'll have Corpus Christi Miller taking on Corpus Christi Veterans. That is a monster game up at Buccaneer Stadium. Sinton at Corpus Christi Carroll. That game's at Cabanis. Brownsville Veterans taking on Brownsville Porter. And then, of course, the big one, Harlingen and Edinburgh Villa. That game being played at Florida Stadium. Friday night, what we have on tap we're kicking things off with Benavides at Santa Gertrudis. Tapped at West Oso. Mathis at Odom. Victoria East at Alice. Harlingen South at Pioneer. Santa Rosa at Brownsville St. Joe. Edinburgh High at Brownsville Rivera. Weslaco at Mission. That game will be played at Hidalgo. Then we have Roma at Economides, Lyford at La Villa. The Gregory Portland at Los Fresnos game did get canceled because of COVID concerns. They won't be making that game up. La Jolla at La Feria. And then on Saturday, we will have Sherryland and Brownsville Hannah for a matinee at 11 a.m. So that's our preview for our Week 1 schedule. This week, this is our prize pack that we're going to be giving away here at Luke Faria Motors. Got a T-shirt. Looks like a bucket hat. I know these bucket hats are pretty popular these days, and they've made a comeback. So the trivia question for this week, who is the only team in the RGV to win a state championship? So leave your answer in the comments, and you will win this prize pack. It looks like pink to you, right?
Yeah, it looks like
Pink Luke Faria Motors. I'm colorblind, so I'm going to take a shot in the dark. Luke Faria T-shirt along with this pretty cool bucket hat. So courtesy of Luke Faria Motors. On the other side of the break, we will be joined by Harlingen High head coach Manny Gomez. When we return, you're watching Real Sports Live.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
And he throws it down. Hey! See you later, touchdown.
And Luke Faria Motors, we're moving forward. Same great service, same great people, same great cars and trucks, and these great white letters. Our vision is crystal clear. Luke Faria Motors, we're on the move.
We're the Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Here at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, we are a family. We support each other through thick and thin. We work together, grow together, excel together. We inspire each other to become the great minds of the future. We are here to ensure you succeed. Apply today to get started. This is your time.
It down. Hey! See you later, touchdown.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
We're the Harlingen South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Awesome!
Service is attitude. How far are we willing to go to service our community, our dealership here at Faria, and you? Sky's the limit.
We're the Ray Texans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Welcome back to Real Sports Live. We're coming to you live from Luke Faria Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. Be sure to come by and check out their car lot. Shout out to John Edge, Tomas, and Lucky, Edge's dad. So I got to cover them throughout their high school years at St. Joe and at BVM. As promised, Coach Manny Gomez of the Harlingen Cardinals here joining us on a Wednesday afternoon. Coach, thanks for coming on. There you go.
Thanks for having us.
So, Coach, you guys go into week one. We talked about it last week, about the anticipation, the nerves, the excitement. Let's rewind and go
Nerves?
back to, well, for some.
Okay, yeah.
I know you guys aren't nervous. But let's rewind to week one, Thursday night. Just as a coach, what was that excitement for y'all?
No, it's like anything. It's like the day before Christmas, I guess. Yeah, we can all relate to that. And
and just what we've been experiencing. Thanks to my wife, I started watching a lot of news, man, and I've been hearing about a lot of just emotional issues been going on in every human being just about, and to me, besides, X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes and the kids and stuff. I'm in the kid business, and it's imperative for us to be able to have significant relationships with these young men and prepare them for what's yet to come. And right now, it's the not knowing is what's difficult. But it's like I tell them guys, the easy part is the football piece. It's just the not knowing. But the thing is, we got always prepare ourselves for the unexpected. So, and that's work ethic, and being able to lean on each other. So that's basically our program in a nutshell. It's that famous saying, "Carnal spirit never dies." But what it really is work ethic, and you can't do nothing by yourself. You got to surround yourself with some great people, and continue to move forward and strive and fail, because part of the failure is the learning process. And right now, I think there's a lot of people in this world that cannot stand on solid ground for whatever reason. And I think a lot of it has to do with in our kids. Is with Texas high school football. It does so much for an individual, or just not just high school football, but just athletics. Period. It's important for parents to involve your kids in athletics at whatever school. It's important because of what it's teaching them. But going back to the originals, we were just super excited, and the trip to Laredo was very fun, but we managed. It took me a couple of days to recover, man, because I'm not used to staying up late. But don't get me wrong, we went out there. The kids were super excited, and so were we. As a coach, that's what I do for a living, and we put in so much work and so much time, and so much time away from your own family and stuff. So when we go out there and compete, it was just a sight to see, and just fortunate we were able to come out on top.
Before we get into the X's and O's of that Laredo South game, but being able to have an off season, being able to have your boys and work out with them, and just getting back to that sense of normalcy, being really a step ahead where we were last year, because at this time last year we weren't doing anything. How important was that for you guys to build that continuity and something that I know as a program pride yourselves on?
Well, it's like it's a saying, creatures of habit, and that's the thing. It's routine, and routine eventually leads to some form of normalcy. Routine eventually leads to some form of maturity, and that's the whole thing about it. And we've been doing all this work, and it just seems like we haven't been getting paid, and it's just good to see a different color jersey out there, because we literally just beat up on each other in Cardinal land with purpose and an understanding. But it's always definitely to go fun to be able to go out there, and especially take a little trip to Laredo, get on the bus, and some of these kids, like I said, it's a big thing for them.
Yeah.
But eventually, you just go out there, and when it's time to go, it's time to go. And we were able to capitalize on Laredo, and I know we weren't talking too much about X's and O's, but we were able to capitalize on a few things and create some momentum. And momentum, we all know, is difficult to stop. And we just let our work ethic take over. And like I said, we're super excited that we were 1-0, and that's where our intentions are every week to win one game a week, and that's where we're at right now.
Laredo United South last year went 3 deep. They beat Mission in that wild overtime game there at the SAC. Brian Benavides, who happens to be the all-time rushing leader in Laredo, graduates.
He was a good player.
You guys played against him a couple times at Bogus.
Yes.
I remember that. So just what were some things that stood out for you? I know I talked with Bermea. He said, Paul Price, Isaiah Bell, all these guys were just really, they got off on the right foot.
Well, yes and no, I would say, because don't get me wrong, big plays are part of who we are, but big plays are part of any team, and we got some explosive dudes on offense, and anytime that you can capitalize, and we took a certain leverage they gave us, and we were able to capitalize. But it's not just the Friday Night Lights, it's part of the preparation. People talk about rise to the occasion. Now you got to rely on your preparation, and a lot of these things that we've done eventually came to fruition on Friday night, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the hype is the hype, but we rely on our preparation, and it showed up, and it showed off a little bit. And like I said, we were able to go out there and capitalize against a good team that was battle tested. They had a lot more dudes than we did coming back, but like I said, we just were able to make a few more plays than they were. And like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from United South. There was a physical team and well coached, and it was definitely a learning experience for a lot of our kids.
I don't want to. It wasn't a theme of week 1, but it seemed like across the board there was a lot of sluggish starts. Is there such a thing as that? Week 1, there's false starts, there's penalties, there's drop passes. Those things you fine tune. You see that week 4, week 5, week 6. Those things are cleaned up.
Absolutely, nothing great happens in one night, and that's why they're called non-conference or non-district games.
Right.
And at the same time, there's still a lot of not a lot. There's a few on our squad that we're still seeing who's in, who's out. Also, like who's going to be able to fit this certain mindset at a certain position. So there's still some scrambling being done, and not just at Cardinal. I'm sure at every coach out there, you still have some what ifs and possibilities. Maybe move this cat to this position, that position. And with us is that we go in the morning, and the heat in Laredo got to us a little bit in the third quarter, the mid third, the third quarter. But it's part of it. Early on, these games are made to build that game conditioning, because you cannot simulate game rep speeds in practice. So these non-district games are important, and especially like your opponent, and that's the whole thing. Laredo's always going to bring much intensity and much effort, and well-coached teams also, bring out the challenges in us, and that's the whole thing why we did what we did. But like I said, we were so fortunate and definitely glad and blessed to be able to come out 1-0.
Saying your mic's a little low, so I'm going to adjust.
That's all
it
good.
here.
I can speak louder if we need to.
Yeah, Coach. So tomorrow, obviously a big game for you guys. We won't hype it up, but we do know that it's 2 programs that in the
Why not? Why not hype it up?
I'll do it if you're willing to. It's going to be very good. It's going to be very good. 2 programs that in the last 5 years have really, made their case as one of the top programs. You guys historically have always been there. Vela, I think this is right around year 9 or 10 that they've been in existence. They've always been there. You've always been here. This will be the second time you guys face off against each other. Along with the question is the point of the non-district portion, because you have United South, who went 3 deep. Vela is a powerhouse, and then you have Laredo United, also a part of your non-district schedule. So that's part 2 of my question. But 1 is just, what are some things that Vela presents to you guys? What are some challenges offensively, defensively that you can share?
Speed, aggressiveness, intensity. It's certain things that I like to see in our opponent, because anytime I prepare or plan for my schedule, I always look for that kind of game, because it's important. That's what you're going to see in our district. Our district is pretty violent, and I like to say that word because it's really what it is. It's very physical. So you have to prepare, and I'll tell you what, when I watch Vela on film, I see a lot of our resemblance. And of course, my hats off to Coach Campbell and them and stuff. But even prior to the years when Coach Salinas was there, I used to always call him, "Hey, let's play, man, let's play." And never got callbacks, but it's all good. Now they've happened, and I'll tell you what, it's an awesome game to be a part of. I don't know if I ever will be a spectator to actually go watch the Harlingen Cardinals play someday as an old man or something, but for sure, if it's a game I'd like to go see, it would be a game like this, to this caliber, because we played it. I played it violently. I played it physical. We coach it that way too. Between the whistles, after the whistle, you got to become genuine. Nice guy, man of integrity. But it's something that the way the game of football is played. I was telling the kids this morning, and people that work with water get wet. People that work with fire get burnt. In the game of football, if you play it violently, you're probably going to have some bumps and bruises and stuff, which is part of it, because we've had a couple guys with little nagging injuries, but it's part of it. But other than that, I think it's going to be great for our communities. I think that the only thing that's a drawback is, and I get it, to each their own, but I know that Edinburgh's got some pretty strict protocols, and they're only going to allow, I believe, 1,000 fans on each side. So, definitely could have been a fun atmosphere, playoff atmosphere early on, because, again, I'm a football coach with that live vicariously through my kids, and I love the game of football. I'm an advocate for freaking RGV football and RGV sports, and I definitely wish that they would have allowed full capacity. I think there would have been plenty of people at that game, but you know what, we're still going to go out there and do our best, and I know they're going to do their best, and it should be a great evening for Valley football.
I know a few years ago you were getting under your boys, and you said you had a few plays in you. I believed it.
Oh yeah,
did.
Maybe one or two, man, but that's about it.
But talking about your non-district portion of the schedule, you're known for creating those tough non-district games, and I think you're the pioneer behind that in these last 5-10 years, where coaches are like, okay, Coach Gomez schedules the San Antonio Reagans.
Well, it started with Abilene a long time ago, back in 2011. It started with that game, and I was expecting because we needed some humility in some of our players, and I thought, we need to get, like they say, I guess, you punched in the face a little bit. Wow, seriously, I told the kids I didn't expect to win this game, guys. I'm being real. They all looked at me like, "Well, Coach," I said, "No, because sometimes we need to learn, and we don't ever lose in Harlingen. We learn. So sometimes you need to learn sometimes the hard way so they can prepare you for tomorrow, because it's easy to be 10-0. I want to be 9-5, 9-6 instead of 10-1 kind of stuff, So, and that's all mindset, because again, can our kids overcome adversity? And so if you never experience adversity, it's going to happen in round 3. It's going to happen in round 4. So we don't want to be have stage fright when that does present itself. And it is what it is. But now it's like I said, things have gotten a lot tougher throughout the valley, and teams have gotten better, coaching staffs have gotten better, and it's something that it's a must. You definitely have to prepare yourself early on for the long haul.
Last question, Coach. Talking about 32-6A and just how fun it's going to be. I talked with you. I talked with Izzy. That's going to be a big storyline when the time comes about the Bird Bowl. You and Izzy, teacher versus student there. Los Fresnos with Dave Cantu now running the spread with Los Fresnos. Rivera, from what I understand, is tougher than most maybe anticipated. Juice running the defense out there. So just with the outlook, looking forward to district play, what's going to be the most exciting thing?
Well, I'm a very easy-minded, easygoing person, and I take it a day at a time. I tell people, you know what, we'll cross that bridge fully loaded when we get there. But for the time being, is take care today, and we're blessed to tomorrow, take care tomorrow. But right now, we're looking all eyes on Vela. Once we get to that point, we know it's going to be a very physical thing, but that's why we do what we do and train the way we train and say what we say and believe what we believe, because we know that what's ahead of us is something that we must prepare for. We're not going to rely on the hype. We're going to rely on our preparation, and that's basically living up to our standards and expectations, and have these significant relationships with these kids and love on these kids, and that's what Cardinal football is all about. Beyond just X's and O's, is we have these close-knit relationships, and we're going to rely on that. And if we're blessed with the opportunity to see Hannah, I believe is week 9, and I believe I can't remember who the last game is. But if we get to that, we get that far, I'll tell you what, we're going to be tickled pink, because I hear it right now. There's some teams that are canceling games, and that's still something that you have to, wow. I'm not say keep my fingers crossed, but definitely put your, get on your knees and pray, say a few prayers, because this is important for our kids and stuff, and not just me as coaches or us as ADs and ACs, but also anybody listening to this. Let's make sure that we do our part to make sure that we can mitigate the spread of this virus and control it, so we can allow our kids to go out there and do the things that they love to do. So for sure.
Coach Manny Gomez of the Harlingen Cardinals. Coach, before you go, any shout-outs?
No, definitely just want to thank my administration and my principal, Ms. Bauer, our ADs, and our new superintendent, Dr. Lisa Noyola, and stuff. It's new leadership. But a little shout out to Dr. Art Cavazos, who's he sent me a picture from the Hall of Fame. I said, hey man, if you can't take a picture of Dick Butkus, I'm a big Dick Butkus, Chicago Bear fan, and what you did.
Bobblehead in your weight room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a picture of Mike Ditka, so I can't show you the picture because he's doing something that's kind of obscene. But it's all good though. I'm a football fan. Like I said, I was a Cowboy fan when I was a kid, but they used to always get beat up by the Philadelphia Eagles, and then I started seeing the '85 Bears, and I fell in love with Mike Singletary and linebacker and stuff. So that's why. So don't hate, guys. But I still watch Hard Knocks. I'm a big fan of it, so it's all good.
My dad played softball with Mike Singletary.
Okay.
Brian
went to Baylor. He went to Baylor. Smart guy. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Actually met Dan Hampton in pregame. We were getting something to eat, and I met Dan Hampton at this restaurant there in Chicago. And huge human being. Let me just say that. But yeah.
Yeah, you and my uncle are the same. Both Bears fans. big of that '85 Bears team. So you kind of went the wrong way. You started out right as a Cowboy fan, but Bears.
No, it's like I'm just a football advocate, man. But anyway, go Cards.
Yeah, that's Coach Manny Gomez. Coach, thanks for joining us. On the other side of the break, we will reveal our winner of our Luke Faria prize pack, and Coach Roger Adame of the Mercedes Tigers will be joining us on the other side of the break.
Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We are Santa Rosa and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Forever Memories Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for a fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
We are Eddie Bergella and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
We are La Villa and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Uniforms. Welcome back to Real Sports Live, coming to you live from Luke Faria Motors in Brownsville, Texas. So we have our winner for our Luke Faria prize pack. That's Jay Flores. He answered correctly. Ironically enough, he's a Tigers fan.
Yeah, one of our bigger fans.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
exactly.
one of the bigger Mercedes Tigers fans. So he wins the Luke Faria prize pack with the Luke Faria t-shirt, a pin, and a bucket hat. I know those bucket hats they're coming back, right?
Yeah, definitely. See some of our players wearing those.
You have teenagers.
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Not too bad. But we're joined by Mercedes head coach Roger Adame. Coach, thanks for joining us.
No, appreciate you having me out here.
So, Coach, before we talk about Week 1, the theme is the off season and being able to work out, and we got to see a lot of your 7-on-7. I know you as a coach pride yourself on the 7-on-7.
Right.
You guys are involved in it. Let's go back to May, or rather June and July, when your boys were able to get on the field for 7-on-7. Just for starters, what was that like, being able to play 7-on-7?
And I'll go back a little further. A lot of this, that starts off and it started in February, because I know we were able to come back and we had that big freeze. But we talked to our guys about the opportunities that are going to be in front of them. We don't talk about sacrifice. We talk about investing. We want to invest our time. We want to invest and get a return on that. And so, starting back in the spring and knowing what we had to do and the opportunities that we'd have, but getting and working through that and then getting through May, and that's the 7-on-7 time of the year, and having our guys go out there and just competing and being able to set up some games. And it was exciting for them, because they had missed out on it last year, and so to come out there and be able to compete against other opponents, and to work just together. There's a lot of 7-on-7s a lot about camaraderie, working the timing and just hanging out together all summer. Really these boys, they don't take a summer vacation. Their focus is getting prepared, and they're not doing strength and conditioning. They're out there in the 7-on-7, and we're able to do well, able to qualify in that first qualifier, very competitive. Teams from around this region, and going out there and being able to compete against them, and not only compete, but compete at a high level and being able to qualify for the state tournament, something we hadn't done in a few years. And so that was an exciting for them, just to compete, going out there, and like I said, just hanging out with each other. A lot about football is about bonds that they have, and they build with each other and playing for each other.
And as far as the X's and O's go, me personally, I love covering 7-on-7.
Yeah.
I look at the quarterback-receiver connection, and then the speed with the DBs, because you can only gauge so much because there's no contact, obviously.
Right.
But do you guys feel the same way as coaches when you guys meet up as a staff and say, okay, our quarterback's on page with this guy, they ran the route tree, and just X's and O's like that?
A lot of it, we do emphasize them sticking with what our scheme is, and you can see some of that. They start to get those connections with the receivers, and going out there and like you said, building that bond and the timing aspect of it, and then the trust factor. A lot of what football is the trust factor and knowing you're going to be where you need to be, and I'm going to throw this ball at. I'm going to be when I get this ball out, you're going to be in the right spot, and then also knowing that no matter what, we got each other's back. With his defense out there, defensively, obviously, like you mentioned, the no contact part of it, but just working your drops and working with each other, learning your coverages, and then trusting in your offense, trusting in your defense, and just celebrating the wins, and also obviously learning something from what we need to do better on the losses.
And the 7-on-7 part of it, being able to have it back was the step in the right direction. Because after that, it's get up and go time.
Yeah.
We're all preparing for, August 1st, August 2nd, day one. So being able to have the off season regularly, and how were your numbers? Because I know that was a theme through the COVID season, obviously. Last spring, 2-a-days. Some coaches didn't do 2-a-days because of the numbers.
Right.
But how were you guys numbers-wise?
Overall, we were kind of worried about. We knew our varsity numbers would be there. Our varsity guys had been there throughout the summer, and so we're excited about that. We felt we had solid numbers on the varsity level. It was our sub-varsities, the guys that didn't get to play last year, that kind of we had to go out there and look for. But we were pleasantly surprised. We came out that first week and had solid JV numbers and solid freshman numbers, and and going out there, these guys that missed a year obviously needed some work to knock some of that rust off, but you can tell they were excited, especially in Mercedes. Mercedes football drives that community, and they were just excited to get out there and put a helmet on, shoulder pads, and go out there and represent the orange and white.
I know a lot of schools didn't have JV ball last year or freshman ball. Is there a domino effect to that, and it may take 2-3 years for everything to level back out?
It could be. We're looking at this when we played a few JV games, a JV scrimmage and a JV game, and you can tell the teams we've played, they're dealing with some of the same issues as far as getting these guys back in rhythm. I don't know if it'll take too long, but maybe a few more games, maybe halfway through the season. But you can tell some of these guys missed out a year, and so us as coaches, it's going to be our job to develop them, put them in the right spots, and emphasize that you guys got to grow up quick, you got to learn quick, because it's going to go. We got to catch up and make sure that that when you get to this time and it's your turn, that you're ready to go.
So let's go into week one. You guys go to Sam Stadium, Brownsville, Hannah. Some picked Hannah to maybe win that district, finish second. 32-6A is tough, but I felt 42-14 was a statement. For you, it's like, well, that's what we expect. But a lot of people saw that score and figured, it was a coin flip. It might have been a little closer, but just starting from the first whistle, Coach, what did you feel that was a tone setter in that game?
When we scheduled Hannah originally, we knew that we were going to get a fast, physical team, and we pride ourselves as being that as well. So we knew it would be a good matchup. We knew it would be a good test for us as a team to find out, and that's what you want to do. You want to find out week one where you're at. We felt we had an idea of where we're at. We felt we'd have some opportunities to do well, and Hannah was a great team that we were going to be able to go on the road, like you said, and try to go out there and match them. We felt we could get the ball in the hands of a few of our playmakers, and defensively we're going to have to play physical. Tiger defense is fast, physical, get to the ball. And we felt that we did that coming out of the gates. We couldn't start slow against a team like Hannah. We couldn't make a lot of mistakes. But like I said, we felt we had opportunities, and it was all about execution. I felt we executed our plays pretty well. We always tell our guys that, our opponents are faceless. So it doesn't matter who you're facing. If you do what you've been coached to do and execute the way you do in practice, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then we should have an opportunity to be successful. So we felt that was happening early on. We felt that what we had game planned for, what we had put in, was coming through. Our kids were executing it at the high level, and if we can continue rolling that and talk to the kids, little coaching points here or there, that we could get to this game and have an opportunity to win it.
Athletically, I know you guys are pretty darn good, and from the outside looking in, a lot of comparisons, and I know not that it's not fair, but some coaches don't like to compare teams. But when you look at it from the X's and O's, this compares to the Matthew, the Cuates, Mark Ledesma, because there are so many athletes. Do you guys feel that there's some similarities between those teams?
You know, like you said, we don't like comparing teams, but yeah, that team is, you know, obviously you're around, you saw those teams. Those guys were very athletic. That was an athletic team overall, one of the best teams that come out of Mercedes. And so, you know, when we talk about teams, when we talk about leaving your mark, obviously those are teams that we bring up, you know, very, very comparable. These boys that we have right now watch those boys play, and they were in junior high watching them play. And so, you know, that's what the great thing about, you know, Mercedes and the community is that we're so driven, so locked in with our athletes, and these young boys look up to them. And so, yeah, when we talk about that, they're definitely, you know, individuals that we talk about, and I think that played a big role in them coming up and wanting to be successful. Every year we tell our team, leave your mark, and leave your mark here for the generations to come. Just like now, our junior high boys are watching these teams play, and so, but definitely, you know, we're excited about the athletes we have. They put in their time, and they've invested, you know, like I said, they've invested for opportunities hopefully coming here in the future.
So you have your home opener against another 6A in Edinburgh North, 31 6A. By design, Coach, or did it just happen to be your non-districts both 6A?
No, you know, we've always had good matchups with Edinburgh North. They got a good coach over there with Damon. They run they got a new offensive coordinator over there, does a good job. We've always had some good battles with them. And, you know, we like playing teams that are going to get us ready for district. Both the teams that we've scheduled, 6As, are solid ball clubs, and we like putting our boys to the test early. We're going to get them out there. We're going to get them competing. One of the biggest things you want to see early on with a team is how they face adversity. We're going to put them in a situation where they're going to face adversity and be able to come out of it. And so they're going to be tested. You know, Friday against Edinburgh North, they're going to come ready to play. They're fast, they're physical. They got some good inside linebackers. And like I said, our boys are going to, you know, come out there and play. And ultimately, the overall goal, obviously, is to do well and win, but really in the big scheme of things, to get us ready for our district play.
I know you're a defensive guy, but this game on paper could turn out into be a shootout.
Yeah.
So is that maybe what's in the range? Because I know Edinburgh North does have a couple of receivers that present some height.
You know, watching them, they're very explosive. You know, they got some big receivers out there. They got a quarterback that places the ball in the right areas, and they go up there and make plays, even if you're in the right coverage. So this we're expecting a very explosive offense. You know, we're challenging our defense. You know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to go out there and compete. You know, as a defensive guy, you hope not. You hope not. I know a lot of the fans love all the points. Mm-hmm. But as a defense, you want to be able to slow them down. We're going to try our best to slow them down a little bit. But you know, overall, it's going to be an exciting game. I feel we got an explosive offense. They do too. You know, I feel they got a physical defense. We do too. So it's one of those games that's going to be fun to watch, exciting. That's why you play the game, and you know that's why you coach also.
As far as your district goes, you know, you start things off with PSJ Memorial with Coach Littleton there taking over. You go through Valley View, Roma. Then comes the meat and potatoes when you have your rival Ed Couch. You have Sherryland, Southwest, a little bit of a rebuilding team, but a playoff team from last year.
Right.
Then you have Mission Vets and Pioneer.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a doubleheader. But one can argue, Coach, that this is the toughest district in the Valley.
You know, it's very tough, and I tell people it's a 9-team district, 9 teams that are solid ball clubs that are very well coached. You go down any of that list that you just went down, all of them got athletes. You know, you can pull up a team and they got playmakers, and then like I said, they're physicals as any team that we'll face. And so every Friday night, like I tell people, it's almost like a playoff atmosphere because things are going to get exciting. These are the games like you want to be in, and like you mentioned, those teams that you mentioned, you know, some of those teams you play back to back, so you got to be ready to go. You know, at that point in the season, everybody's been film's been broken down, and it's come down to who can stay healthy, you know, who can execute, and that's our plan. You know, to stay 1 week at a time, execute what our plays, do what we've been coached to do, and hopefully, like I said, we've invested enough to have opportunities, you know, to be successful there at the end.
And when fans ask me, I say, well, if you like points, you ought to tune in to this district because, you know, Sherryland can rack them up.
Yeah.
Ed Couch, when they're good with that wishbone, is good. Mission Veterans, Pioneer, and you guys obviously leading the way there. So, turning the page, Coach, you just celebrated a birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy belated.
I
How was your
appreciate
weekend?
It was good. You know, always good after a win. But, you know, the past, you know, 20 plus years that we've been coaching football. My birthday's been spent in the film room and getting prepared and with our team. And you know what? Besides my family, the team is where I would love to spend my time with and celebrate my birthday because, like you said, it's about the bonds we build, and not only with the kids build bonds with the coaches as well. And you know, that's what makes a special team when you guys go out there and play for each other. So it was great. It was great being around our players, great being around the family and stuff like that. And then getting back to work for Edinburgh North this week.
Feeling a tad bit old because I can say I covered both Roger and Brandon.
Right.
You know, I remember Brandon was young on the sidelines as a ball boy. But how are they doing?
They're doing well. You know, Roger's in his last year of college. You know, hopefully graduating here next May and going into the family business. I like to say, going to try to go into the coaching field. And Brandon just started his college career, and you know, haven't decided quite what he wants to go into, but I have a feeling it might be the family business as well.
And your little girl is now in high school and playing volleyball with Mercedes.
Yeah,
so full circle.
Yeah, full circle. She's a sophomore there, Mercedes High, and you know, playing their volleyball and you know, doing well, and you know, exciting to see her. You know, I like, you know, I coached my boys for 2 years in the sport I was able. Now I like going and watching her play volleyball. It's a little different sport, you know, and I don't have to get as intense there.
Special Dove weekend. Any plans of going out there?
You know, hopefully, you know, come out there and you know, get ready for this week. And you know, after Friday night, Saturday we usually plan throughout the day. But you know, we get some time there Saturday. We're an outdoors family. Yep. You know, that's how, you know, people ask us, what do we do away from the film room? What do we do away from the football? We're outdoors. You know, we like spending our time outdoors, and you know, hunting and dove season is one of those that we're able to. I know my boys will be out there, and so I'll try to catch them once I get out of that Saturday afternoon. But like I said, you got to have that time. You got to have their time with your family, and you got to do your work and do what you need to do, but also the downtime to kind of, you know, get your mind off of things for not too long, a couple hours, and get back at it.
Coach, any final thoughts, any shout-outs you want to give?
No, I appreciate everything. Want to, you know, shout out to our Mercedes community out there. You know, we appreciate all the support. We're looking forward to this Friday. It is Parents' Night. You know, honoring our parents that have given their, you know, allowed their kids to play for our program and have trusted us. And it's going to be exciting. If you haven't been to a Friday night game at Tiger Stadium, you're not getting the full effect because the band's going to be there. It's loud, the energy, and it's just an exciting place to be. So, you know, shout out to them, and you know, all Rio Grande Valley, and exciting football is back.
Anything because it's your home opener, anything the fans should know as far as parking or protocols or anything?
You know, we're doing you know, it's kind of be the same routine. You know, we are using the clear bag policy, so as long as they have the clear bags going in, they will be checked. Other than that, we're full capacity and we're full go, and we're ready to get this thing running.
Perfect. Coach Roger Adame of the Mercedes Tigers. Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck on Friday.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be back on the other side of the break. You're watching Real Sports Live.
The opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after, I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children. One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
This game is brought to you in part by the Concession Stand in Santa Rosa, a locally owned business providing a terrific atmosphere before or after the games and supporting athletes of all ages. When you're in Santa Rosa, be sure to stop by the Concession Stand and choose from the wide assortment of goodies. An advertising partner with Rio Sports Live is the Concession Stand. Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles? How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We are La Vida, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable for condo and beach house rentals. Call and visit the website today. Island Services.
We are the Harlingen Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rodo Rodriguez, and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We are those Fresno Lady Falcons, and this is Real Sports Live.
All right, welcome back to Real Sports Live at Luke Faria Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. Be sure to come by and check out the car lot. And again, Jay Flores is our winner for our Luke Faria prize pack with the T-shirt, the button, and the bucket hat. So, Jay Flores, come by Luke Faria Motors to pick up your prize here in Brownsville. It's right off the highway. So, special shout out to Coach Manny Gomez and Roger Adame for joining us. So, we're just going to wrap things up here, and we're going to go over our Week 2 schedule. So, starting Thursday night up in the Coastal Bend, it'll be Corpus Christi Miller taking on Corpus Christi Veterans at Buck. Sinton taking on Carroll. That game's at Cabanis. Brownsville Veterans taking on Brownsville Porter at Sam's. Harlingen, Edinburgh Vela. That game at Richard Flores Stadium. Rolling into Friday night, we'll have Rockford Fulton at Corpus Christi King. That game at Buck. Corpus Christi Moody taking on San Antonio Jefferson. That game being played at Cabanis. Benavides taking on Santa Gertrudis. Tapped at West Oso. Mathis at Odom. Victoria East at Alice. Harlingen South at Pioneer. Santa Rosa taking on Brownsville St. Joe. Edinburgh High at Brivera. Weslaco taking on Mission. That game will be played at Hidalgo. Roma at Edinburgh Economides. Lyford taking on La Villa. And of course, the Gregory Portland versus Los Fresnos game was canceled because of COVID concerns. And then La Jolla at La Feria. That's Friday night. Then the lone game on Saturday will be Sherryland and Brownsville Hannah. So tomorrow night, Thursday, Ruben will be down at Sam's. So Brownsville Porter will be taking on, that will be Brownsville Veterans. So BVM looking for their first win. Porter looking to go 2-0. So just what are some things that you're looking for tomorrow night?
Well, I'm excited to go see Galagita back at QB1. You're gonna have Brownsville Veterans hungry after taking a loss to Harlingen South. So expect them to come out swinging out of the gate. But so I'll see how Brownsville Porter can try to hold them down and try to go 2-0 on the season. It is some bragging rights also, crosstown matchup, same district. So excited to see how that plays out.
It's always fun when those two Brownsville teams meet up at Sam. So again, Coach Gomez and I talked about what's going to be going on tomorrow night at Florida Stadium. That's a huge football game. 31-6A versus 32-6A. These two teams met 2 years ago for the first time in their program history in a playoff game that Vela ultimately won 42-35. So Harlingen's going to have a little bit of a revenge factor when Edinburgh Vela comes to town, or rather when Harlingen goes to Florida Stadium in Edinburgh. So plenty of athletes. We're excited to see what Chase Campbell can do. First-year starter as a senior. This is his first real test under the lights against a power like Harlingen. So we're excited for that one. Friday night, I will be down at Richard Thompson Stadium for Sherryland Pioneer, Harlingen South. Both teams 1-0, both teams under new head coaches. So excited for that one. Friday, where will you be Friday?
I'm going to be here back at Sam Stadium. Got Edinburgh again, Brownsville Rivera. So both teams coming after a loss. Edinburgh falling to Mac High in week 1, and then Rivera falling to PHM Memorial in that. It was Memorial, right? It's PHM Memorial.
Who's that?
And against Rivera in overtime?
No, Brownsville Rivera.
Oh, no, PHJ North, excuse me. PHJ North and Brownsville Rivera falling in overtime. So both teams 0-1, looking to bounce back and try to start off their wins on week 2. So.
All right, that about wraps up our coverage here. So again, Jay Flores is our winner of our Luke Faria prize pack with the bucket hat and the T-shirt. So Jay Flores, be sure to come by Brownsville to pick up your prize pack. We'll leave it here with you. So again, before we sign off, we'll just run down our schedule in case you missed it. Thursday night, Miller at Veterans at Buck. Sinton taking on Carroll at Cabanis. BVM and Porter at Sam's. Harlingen at Vela. That's tomorrow night. Friday night, we have a lot of football games for you. Rockport Fulton taking on King at Buck. San Antonio Jefferson taking on Moody at Cabanis. Benavides at Santa Gertrudis. Tapped at West Oso. Mathis at Odom. Victoria East at Alice. Harlingen South at Sherryland Pioneer. Santa Rosa at St. Joe. Edinburgh High at Brownsville Rivera. Weslaco at Mission being played at Hidalgo. Roma at Edinburgh Economides. Lyford at La Villa. La Jolla at La Feria, and then the Saturday game, Sherryland and Brownsville, Hannah. So that wraps up our coverage. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we'll let you know who we have on as far as a special guest goes. Special shout out to John Edge and everyone here at Luke Faria Motors. Be sure to stop by here in Brownsville. On behalf of myself, Kevin Naro, Joe Bowling, and everyone at Real Sports Live, saying so long for now from Brownsville.